Hello everyone, my name is Davis, and I have never been to the moon, not even once. Today we're doing another comedy critique. Today's subject will be the Australian Porter Rockwell himself, Isaac Butterfield.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I've got to level with you. I get called a lot of horrible shit, right? I get called racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, and they're all true.
Isaac's big thing is that he wants to be really offensive. He has a podcast called Cancel Me Now, so he just loves when people don't like having him around. He loves that. That's his favorite, which is childish to say the least. And of course, I could go on for a long time about that, but if you want to watch a video about what a loser he is as a human, I recommend you watch Mr. Beard's video. It's a goodie. For my video though, as I did with Jim Brewer and Mahogany Jones, I want to focus on what a loser he is as a comedian. We're going to be taking a look at his comedy special Anti-Hero, which you can watch for free on YouTube, although I don't recommend it, at https://www.youtube.com/WATCH?VMJOL6VQLA0Q. The special is a bit over an hour long, so I'm not going to be going through every single joke. I am just one lowly SJW libshart after all. But let's hit some highlights. Also, a disclaimer, obviously this guy is an edgelord, cringeoid, Walmart sock of a man, so he's going to say some extremely terrible things in this video, so I don't recommend watching this one with your kids. I know my channel's really popular among new fathers. About 5 minutes of his special are spent on this very embarrassing intro sketch, so let's start with that.
How you doing, buddy? Have you got accreditation? Good to go.
I love that Isaac was nice enough to think that any leftist has hair as healthy as this guy. Like, this guy got some locks on him, damn.
Oh, hang on guys, just wait a second.
Ignoring the glassing that guy in the scalp, let's talk about the chant. It's stupid, it's lazy, it's a bad chant. I mean, come on, silence Isaac Butterfield, like, put some effort into it. Like, here, like, more like Isaac Butterfield, or more like I suck Butterfield would have been better. I suck butt whore ass. All of my roasts start with more like, so if you ever hear me say that, you better run or I might get ya. My favorite part about this sketch is that it proposes this fictional world where anybody knows who Isaac Butterfield is enough to like go protest him. Kind of like if I were to upload a video about like, I've been canceled by my 40 subscribers. Oh, it's actually 41 now. Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Isaac Butterfield!
And that is the whole intro sketch. As far as joke structure goes, it's just extremely mid. It just kind of ends. If it ended with Isaac like getting into a fight with them, or like them crying while Imogen Heap's hide and seek plays or something, like that would have been an ending. It has like a punchline, but instead it just kind of tapers off. Also, I know I said I wasn't going to focus on how lame this guy is as a human, but think about in the real world what went into making this sketch, like the behind the scenes. Like Isaac paid 5 people with money, I assume, to run into a room full of a few hundred people who are there to listen to him talk, to make it look like people don't want to listen to him talk. It's been said a million times, but if you're saying I'm being silenced to a room full of hundreds of people, then you're not being silenced, obviously. This guy wants to be oppressed so bad. He is such a bottom. So now that that's over, just to restate, my goal with this video is, like with the Jim Brewer video and the Mahogany Jones video, I want to honestly assess the comedic content and joke structure of his special. Obviously, he's going for the whole offensive, edgy thing, but the main thing I want to demonstrate with this critique is not that, oh, you should be canceled if you say something offensive. Like, I'm a fan of a lot of pretty offensive comedians. Like Norm Macdonald, for example, his jokes about 9/11 make me honestly think 9/11 was worth it. Now, I want to demonstrate from a comedic standpoint that jokes with the intention of being offensive, which is clearly this guy's intention, are boring and lazy. If you're going to be offensive, you need to have artistry. I'm here for the craftsmanship. So let's get into it.
Holy dooly. I tell you what, there's 2,000 good motherfuckers in this room, but there's always a group of fuckwits, right? There's always a group of fuckwits, and I need to ask that question right now. Where the fuck are the vegans, huh? Where are you? Huh? You malnourished cunts, where are you? But man, I've had vegans at shows, right? I had a vegan at my Melbourne Comedy Festival show. He sat right up the front, and I said this, I said, are there any vegans here? And he put his hand up straight away, he went, me? No, I'm a vegan. I was like,
Yeah, cool, vegan jokes. Never heard those before. But this isn't a new special. It came out an entire 5.5 months ago, so I guess I can't blame him for making jokes that I got bored of when I was in 3rd grade. Joke structure wise, this joke isn't really anything. He kind of just says like, where are the vegans? And then I hate vegans. It's not really a setup or a punchline. The main problem with this joke though is, like I said, making fun of vegans is one of the oldest jokes in the comedy book. Like, people have been making jokes about how annoying vegans are for as long as vegans have been annoying, which pretty long time. Also, okay, I'm not claiming that he edited in fake laughter into this special, but there is a weird thing. So like for a split second, the audio of the laughing is only coming through one ear, and then it kind of pops in the other ear. Here, let me play it a few times, I'll point it out.
and I was like,
You hear that? Do you hear that? I'm not saying he did anything fishy for sure. I'm not. Anyway, next joke.
I said, mate, you're a vegan, you're at my show, bitch, do you know who I am?
I mean, unless he saw Mr. Beard's video too, probably not.
He said, I do. And I thought maybe if I came to this show and you got to know me, then perhaps you'd change the way you thought about vegans forever. That's great. That's so, oh, that's silly. That's like a Jew in 1942 just turning up at Auschwitz, right? Man! Anyway, we gassed the cunt.
Okay, what's frustrating about this one, besides the obvious, is that he stops right after the premise. Actually, okay, let's touch on a principle that's going to come up a lot throughout this video. Again, I'm not against offensive humor. I think that in theory, you can make a joke about anything and have it actually be funny. But the trick is it has to be funny. And the more sensitive the subject is, the more thought you have to put into it to make it actually funny. See, yelling something offensive and having people laugh is the same as like a jump scare in a horror movie. It's extremely cheap, requires no thought. People are gonna just react to it because that's the instinct. Like I could, for example, right now say a bunch of slurs and oh, that'd be so offensive and intense and edgy, but it's not a well-structured joke. It's just, I'm just saying stuff. It's just shock value, no other value. It's the easiest, lowest effort type of joke imaginable. And a lot of this guy's jokes are just like that. He just thinks of the most offensive thing he could say and then he says it. But back to this joke. He sets up this premise of a Jewish guy going up to some Nazis and trying to like talk it out. Honestly, as far as offensive jokes go, that's a fine premise. With that premise, he could have said something about the guy like putting like notes in the suggestion box or like talking to HR about living conditions being terrible. And like it'd still be pretty horrible, but at least it'd be like a well-structured joke, you know? But instead he just says the offensive part and then gives up and moves on because he's lazy. He spends the next minute and a half or so building up to an oven joke, so it's not even worth bringing up, honestly. There's nothing, it's just stupid. So let's skip to the joke after that one.
There was a crime reporter with the Herald Sun in Melbourne that came out and said how much of a piece of shit I was. Every major newspaper in this country came out against me. All that type of shit. I was even on the front page of the Israel Times. Little old Butts was on the front page of the Israel Times, which is upsetting for me because now my tour of Israel is in jeopardy. But my ticket sales in Palestine are exploding.
Okay, focus on the joke structure. Focus on the joke structure. Don't let what an ass this guy is distract you from your calling. Okay, this joke structure-wise, is fine. It's nothing special. If you take the edgy Israel-Palestine stuff out of it, it's basically just saying like, this guy hates me, so this guy who hates that guy likes me. So there's not much there without the shock value. That's a good tip, actually. That's a good little strategy you can use if you're writing comedy. A great way to test if a joke is good offensive or bad offensive is to take the offensive part out and replace it with something like comparable. So like if you're making a joke at the expense of gay people, for example, replace gay people with a group of people who would produce fewer buzzwords and see if the joke is still funny. If it is, maybe it's a good joke. Give it a shot. And if it's not funny anymore, it's probably not a good joke. Throw it in the garbage can. All right, next joke. This one is pretty bad, so get ready.
This Australian extremist stormed this building, this mosque, this room where people were saying their prayers and going about their business. And for me, the saddest thing about that, it wasn't the 52 people who were killed. It wasn't the countless others who had their lives changed forever because their family members were taken from them. It was the hundreds of people that night who couldn't make it home from nightclubs in Christchurch because all the cabbies were dead.
Man. Oof. Okay. It is hard to analyze this guy's joke structure in an objective way when he's just spouting so much childish bullcrap. With every damn joke, he's trying as hard as his weird 1840s beard can manage to throw so much shocking liberal kryptonite at you that you don't notice that he's just making one of the oldest, most uncreative jokes in the racist handbook. There is a racist handbook, by the way. It's required reading at PragerU. I gave it 1 star on Goodreads. Of course it was disgusting, but also the writing was pretty trite.
And now the PM in New Zealand, Jacinta Ardern, right? She wants to come out, she wants to ban guns in the Kiwi land. She wants to ban guns. That's what they did here in 1996 after the Port Arthur massacre. They banned guns. But we need to remember that guns don't kill people, all right? They don't. Vaccines give kids autism and then... they go on to kill people.
Is that a stereotype I don't know about? It seems like one I should know about.
The people who we become as adults is often dictated by the childhood we have. If you grow up in a household where everyone's happy and friendly and loving, you're probably going to be a really nice person, right? If you grow up in a household where everyone's hateful, violence, and there's vitriol behind every corner, you might be a person with a short temper, right? If you grow up in a household where your parents are anti-vaxxers, you die at 8, all right?
Well, at least he's not actually an anti-vaxxer. So that joke is basically a long build-up to yet another punchline that I have heard 100 times. Like, do a different one, dude. You're making my video boring. The embarrassing racism and the cringingly ancient jokes are bad enough, but if you step between me and my 41 subscribers having a nice, fun video to watch, you got another thing coming, pal.
But you see, I went through something as a child that I think every single person in this room can relate to. It's something fucked up. It's something I saw with my own 2 eyes. It was something so horrible, so horrendous that it stays with me until this day. Something I saw as a toddler, right? I think it's so horrible, this thing that we all saw, that it's the cause of all war, all famine, and probably diabetes as well. And that's seeing your dad's dick all the time, all right? That is fucked up.
So that one was a long build-up to a punchline that wasn't so much predictable as it was not worth it. Efficiency, Isaac, efficiency. Haven't you seen my other videos? Let's measure his efficiency, actually. We're gonna use the classic measurement of LPMs, or laughs per minute. I think it's a fantastic measurement of how good a comedy set is, because you go to a comedy set to laugh, right? So if you're laughing more in one than in another, the one you laugh more in is probably better. So I went ahead and measured the LPMs of this special and a couple other specials. Here are the results. Now, assuming he's not adding in laughs after the fact, this special has an average of 4.3 laughs per minute. Not bad, I've seen worse. Let's compare that to the laughs per minute of a comedy special I really like, Dimitri Martin's These Are Jokes. Dimitri is a very efficient comedian. He got an average of a whopping 9.5 laughs per minute. Jim Gaffigan is another fantastically efficient joke teller, and like, his sense of humor isn't really my style, but watching his special, you're like, wow, this guy is really good at what he's doing. He knows what's up. His special, Beyond the Pale, has an average of 11.1 laughs per minute. That's incredible. That's an LPM you should strive for. I also measured Mahogany Jones's laughs per minute, and the LPM meter just said, good grief, in a Charlie Brown voice, so I think that's where we'll end the experiment. The next joke is interesting because it has a fine punchline. I actually don't mind the punchline on this one. But once again, the setup is so long. I'm gonna skip the very beginning of it because it just makes it even longer, but for context, he is at a sex ed class and he is being chaperoned by his grandparents.
So we sit down and they start talking about how the birds, they fuck the bees, and all that shit. And I started thinking to myself, hang on a second. If the way babies are made, spermies are thrust forward into the egg looms, right? Then that means, because I've got 4 younger brothers, that mum and dad have been getting stuck into it for years. And that upset me thoroughly, right? I was sitting there going, oh no, oh no. And then it clicked in my mind. I went, holy shit, Gran and Pop have got 10 kids. I went, you wrinkly fucking nympho, what's wrong with you? I turned to look at Pop and he wasn't there. He was over by the tea and biscuits looking at me going, yeah, mate.
So yeah, honestly, the end of that joke is solid enough. The idea of his grandpa noticing that he was disgusted while learning about sex and then kind of poking fun at him for it, that's funny. That's good. Good job, Isaac. That being said, let's polish it up. The setup is way too slow. Like, look how easy it is to make that joke really fast while telling the exact same joke. My grandpa was the one who taught me about sex for the first time, and after we talked, I realized, wait, my grandpa has 10 kids. I looked up at him like, Grandpa, and he looked back at me like,
yeah, mate.
Just a couple sentences to his 400, and it's the exact same punchline. His next joke is a long, drawn-out story about a fan of his who had Tourette's, and he makes fun of him by making some very Jim Brewerian noises. But none of it is particularly funny, nor is it salvageable. So let's just let him go down with the ship on that one.
But not only did I work in the disability field, I've also got a disabled brother. He has autism. He's 24 now, and he's... Thank you. It's good to see you here.
Okay, that was some nice improv. It's efficient, quick, not intentionally edgy, just some quick, nice crowd work. Let's see if he can keep up that energy. Spoiler, he cannot.
Now, he has it tough in life, but I tell you, there's not a person that I know with a better smile. He's a happy person. He lights up the room when he does smile, and a beautiful human being. But I always have not treated him differently to my other brothers or my family members. I think that's how I would want to be treated, as an equal. If he's being a fuckwit, I'll tell him he's a fuckwit, okay? That's how I operate. Mum and Dad are completely different. When I was, let's say, 21 years old, Mum and Dad walk into my room, right? Still staying at home, and Mum goes, listen, mate. Well, she didn't say it like that. She said, Isaac, it's about time you moved out of home, mate. And I said, listen, bitch, my generation, Mum, we never leave. And then Dad tried to be the he-man, right? And he's like, no, mate, you're getting out of this house. It's time to grow up. It's time to get out into the real world, get a job, and really learn what this life's like. It's time to grow up, all right, mate? Time to grow up. And he kept saying that to me. He kept saying, grow up, grow up, grow up. And it fucking pinged in my head. And I said, listen here, you two, come with me. I took mum and dad with me. I said, I need to fucking grow up. I need to grow up. Went straight to my little brother's room. I sprung the door open. I said, I need to grow up. This prick's 18 and he's chewing on Lego, okay?
Finally, wow, that was such a long setup. And that was the punchline. He started the joke by saying, I am going to make fun of my brother. And then obviously I knew he was going to say, what about my brother? The second his mom came in and said, you need to grow up. And that was an entire minute ago. And it took him that long to get to a setup I already knew was going to happen. That joke was like if in the first Star Wars movie, Obi-Wan was like, well, Luke, I'm not going to tell you whether or not you are related to Darth Vader. And then for the next movie and a half, the entire audience is like, oh, well, Darth Vader's Luke's dad, right? Like, and then Darth Vader is like, I am your father. And everyone's like, yeah. Moral of the story, if you're gonna have a long build-up, make it worth it. Don't tell me what the punchline is gonna be before you give it to me. And obviously it goes without saying, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Don't make a joke where the punchline is as embarrassing as you making fun of an autistic guy. Like, come on. Specifically an autistic Lego fan. Those are my people and I will defend them like I'm their own mother.
The way my mind works is I wonder if there's inanimate objects that I could only imagine the joy of communicating with. The other object that I think would be great to be able to talk to is sperm. Because think about it, if sperm could talk, it would change the way that males live their lives, all right? Because masturbating for a man is usually a very silent activity. Don't get me wrong, there's the occasional
Wow, cool, a funny noise. Lele Pons, eat your heart out.
Actually, you know what? Let's pretend we're not at this beautiful 112-year-old theatre. Let's pretend we're in a scrotum. And you're all my little sperms, okay?
Wait, check this out. I knew it. I got your ass, you child. All right, I'm done with this guy. Just get over yourself, get over your pride, and put some effort into some jokes. Try to write jokes that aren't offensive. Give it a shot, seriously. Like, just try it for a while, and I guarantee you'll come up with some good stuff. When you're not trying to be the most offensive guy in the room, you say some decently funny stuff. You have some jokes in the special that aren't bad. They're just drowned out by all the blatant ignorance and stupidity and slurry that you're spitting all over people trying to trigger liberals. Your goal with comedy shouldn't be to trigger liberals, it should be to make comedy. So maybe give that some thought. I don't have anything else to say. Tune in next week for nothing. I probably won't upload another video for another 2 weeks, so don't tune in next week. Bye.